Welcome to Primetime Live at the Duxbury Senior Center. I'm Joanne Moore and I'm the host for today's show. I'm so fortunate to have Pam Campbell-Smith with me today. She is a local architect in town with Campbell-Smith Architects, and she is also the chair of our building committee. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Happy to be here.
And I want to say thank you for your gift of time. You have been a volunteer on the board, on the Feasibility Study Committee, and on the Construction Committee, and I just want to say that's hundreds and hundreds of hours of volunteer time, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate your gift of time. So it is a really exciting time at the Senior Center. Not only is the senior population growing, but we have a building that's growing right before our very eyes. And I wanted to touch base with you and the community to talk about how it started and how we got to where we are today. So I was wondering if you could tell us how that happened.
Well, I have a summer camp called Camp Architect. And in 2013, I asked you if I could bring my campers over to the Senior Center and we would imagine an addition for the Senior Center. And you gave me a set of plans, the original documents, and you said, as a matter of fact, imagine that we do need an addition to the building that would maybe be additional classrooms. And so the campers and I did some drawings and we brought them back to you. And I think the seed was planted. And 2 years later, you formed a feasibility study, and our committee did the homework. We surveyed, investigated what would be the needs of the senior community in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And that feasibility report went to the selectmen, and then it went to town meeting in 2017.
And here we are today. So tell me, after it went to the selectmen town meeting in 2017, what happened next?
We asked at the town meeting 2017 for funds to hire an architect. And so a conceptual plan that we had was given to, I think, 6 architectural firms were interested. And they all made a presentation to our committee, and in the end we selected one architectural firm, and that was Steffi and Bradley. And they put together some architectural documents for us, and those were completed in December of 2017. We went to town meeting 2018 with those documents and asked the town if they would support this addition.
Great.
And they did.
And it's wonderful. So in regards to the Feasibility Study Committee, who worked on that committee?
Oh God, Joanne, help me. Paul Brogna.
Shelley Beebe.
Yeah, Jerry Thompson was on there.
Marcy Bravo.
For a while.
You.
Cheryl Ross.
And I think you and me.
Okay.
And it's amazing what information we were fortunate enough to get from UMass Boston, as well as doing a survey to the community and to the seniors. And what came out is the drawings that we're working with today for the addition. So let's talk a little bit about what this new space is going to look like.
Okay. It's about 3,600 square feet. It's a 2-story addition. And on the first floor, we are adding a larger gym, and we've decided to keep the gym that's already there, and 2 classrooms, and a staff lunchroom. And then on the second floor, we're adding a large classroom that will seat 48 people. We're modifying one of the other classrooms, and that's what we've accomplished.
And it's really exciting to see the builder. So who was the builder that was selected for the project, and how did that happen?
The same process that we did for architects. It went out to bid, and we received the bids back, and Nadeau Construction from Attleboro, Massachusetts was the lowest bidder, and they were awarded the contract. They could start June 1st. They did. And we have weekly meetings with them. And so far, we're on time, we're on schedule, and we should be opening that addition sometime in December.
That's a really exciting thought, to think that this addition could be done so quickly.
Yeah.
And so what will these classrooms be used for?
I think what was driving this is, as we all recognize from the survey and the information we got, the growing numbers of seniors with dementia. So one of the classrooms is for, we call it the Respite Program, and it would be for our forgetful ones that need some place. And we also have the 2 other classrooms for our expanded lifelong learning program, which is so popular.
Right.
We've been running out of space for that.
Well, it's interesting. I sent something to Sue Scheibel from the Patriot Ledger just today. That program's been running since 2006. So this is our 12th year of offering lifelong learning. And I'll just do a little quick plug. The registration starts next Tuesday, and we have 14 different classes. Some of them will be hosted off-site because of our limited space, and we are so thankful to our community partners at First Parish Church and the police station and the conservatory for sharing space with us this semester, and the library as well. Our partners are really terrific.
What's the date Tuesday of this registration?
I think that's September 4th. That's right after Labor Day. So let's go back to the addition. So you said the addition's going to be 3,600 square feet and 2 stories. How did you determine the finishings on the inside, and what is it going to look like?
So the architect, Steffi Bradley, also had on staff working on this project an interior designer, and she would make presentations to the committee for the finishes, the material finishes, carpeting, hard flooring, paints, wall covering, drapery treatments, window treatments. And so our whole committee would look at it, and we would vote as a committee what we approved.
So, and what's also really exciting was the Senior Center got a grant for $50,000 from the state, and we've been able to do some renovations, and thank you for your input and help on that. Tell me a little bit about the renovations that took place with that really will help. Just when people come in, it will really create that welcoming environment that's part of our long-range plan.
When you walk into the library, straight ahead, when you walk into the foyer, straight ahead was a library, and it had a blocking there that was a book rack that had books on it on the other side. And I think the welcoming committee and you thought that it was a good idea to remove that wall and to instead put up a wall. We hoped for barn doors, but we were told we couldn't do barn doors. But it does have a glass transom above it, and this space can now be used for other committee meetings, whereas the library was open. This space has doors that you can close, whereas the library was open, and any drafts that came in the wintertime went straight through to whoever was sitting in the library. They've painted and updated the colors in that area, and they will be taking the carpet that we've approved for the addition, and they'll be carpeting the existing area with that so that those 2 are tied together.
And how about the bathrooms? We did some...
We had fun with the bathrooms.
We sure did.
So we've taken the flooring material that's going to be used in the addition, which is a faux wood vinyl, and we've used that in the bathrooms. And then again, we painted the walls, we've put in new countertops, new sinks, new toilets that are a little bit higher than the ones that were there. And so that's all been updated.
Yeah, it really does give it a nice fresh look and feel, and the faucets are beautiful, and it really, I know people have commented on how much they appreciate the taller bathroom toilets, so we're pleased about that. And we have been able to work with a local furniture store because of another grant we received, and we'll be getting some new furnishings for the lobby. We were hoping they'd be in before our golf outing, but it doesn't look like they'll come in until early October. But at least people will be in the building, able to use the space, and it will have that really fresh look.
We should also probably mention that part of those funds went to, was it purchasing a new refrigerator? What was it?
So we
didn't spend it all on
we had some really extensive issues with our refrigerator and our freezer system, and it cost $18,000 that would have had to come out of town funding, but because of this grant, we were able to repair and replace our refrigerator and freezer. And so that was really helpful because that would have been a real challenge in the budget cycle. So we did some preventive repairs as well as some beautification and updating. And we'll be able to work with the Sheriff's Department. They said they'd help us out once again to do some additional painting in the building for part of the building that isn't being refurbished during the renovation process.
Good. We did that before.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, so I think the last time we did it, we saved the town about $35,000. So that savings should be pretty close to the same, and we're so fortunate because the Friends have said they would cover the cost to paint.
So another savings was the feasibility study that was completed by our committee of talented seniors who knew a lot about different areas that were required for the feasibility study, and again, we saved the town, we estimate, $70,000.
And I think that so much of what happens at the senior center is done by volunteers, and the gift of time they give, it makes such a difference at the senior center and in the community. We just finished our annual report, and volunteers gave, I think the number was 34,822 hours. Wow. I think that was the number. And the savings was $860,000 to the town. So when we ever say we couldn't do it with without volunteers, we couldn't. And this is a perfect example of a project that started because of a gift of time of volunteers and the volunteer committee that's working on the construction. We do have some town employees involved in that, so why don't we give a shout out to them for their help in making this happen as well.
So on our building construction committee is Scott Lambasi, who's the Director of Inspectional Services, Brian Cherry, who is the Director of Facilities, Joanne Moore, who's the Director of the Duxbury Senior Center, and then you have Paul Brogna, who is also a civil engineer, once again a volunteer who gave us his services, myself, a representative from the architectural firm Bob Clark, and then representatives from Nadeau Construction Company.
And we meet with them every week, and once a month we have a community meeting. So if someone was interested in the community meeting, where would they find that information?
Generally, it's the last Wednesday of the month, and it's usually at 11:30. Where they would find that information, I would ask that they call the senior center.
Perfect. And they could ask me because we have had a couple times that we had to change the meeting. So if someone was interested in coming to the monthly community meeting where we give an update on the project, we'd love to have you come. And I just want to say thank you to you, the building committee, the town. We are so excited about this addition and to see the possibilities and where it's going to take us and how we can provide service to our growing senior population. So thank you so much for being on the show today and for sharing this wonderful information on our addition and the future.
You're so welcome.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Welcome back. We're so glad to have you at Primetime Live with the Duxbury Senior Center. And I'm so thrilled to have Valerie Massard, our town planner, with us. We had Pam Campbell-Smith here during the first portion of the show talking about the senior center. Now we're going to talk about the town as a whole. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You know what? I'd love to start the show by sharing a little bit about the person who's the guest. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how long you've been the town planner and maybe what your favorite part of the job is.
Wow. Well, I was thinking about that. I've been the town planner for almost 3 years now, which
That's gone fast.
Yeah, it has, really fast. And you know, I really enjoy coming in. It's a beautiful town, but also just there's so many people and they're so interested and engaged in what's going on in the community that it's really a fun place to work because everybody's interested in what's happening all over town. So
Right.
I enjoy that a lot.
Excellent. So in the last year and a half, you've been busy on a long-range plan. What is a long-range plan, and why would you have one?
Well, it's a boring name for a community vision.
Okay.
You know, it's a way for all of us to sit around the table and have a really good heart-to-heart dialogue about what do we like about our community, what do we love about it, what do we want to see change. And it's something that takes a lot of dialogue. It takes a lot of different angles of trying to reach people, whether it be a survey or one-on-one or through emails, but just really trying to hear from everyone what their thoughts are, pros and cons, save and keep. And then what we do is we put all that in writing and we set up some goals and strategies, and then we all work from that. So in theory, over the next 10 to 20 years, we have this vision that we're all generally in agreement on, and we revisit it every couple of years and say, are we still on track? Have we gotten some things done? And it really gives us a way to help prioritize and work together as a team. So it's been a while since Duxbury's done this, and we're excited to be underway.
And so how did it get started in Duxbury? Was that like when you first came in, that was the thing, like, I'm going to get started on this, or did the town manager suggest it, or how did it get going?
Well, I think the planning board really, when they interviewed me, said, gee, you know, we'd really like to get this to be number one on the priority table. So right away, that was one of the first things I started working on.
And how long does this type of a plan take to create and get the final report?
Well, there's a lot of components, so it takes 2 or 3 years to really pull it together. We have MAPC, which is the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, working with us as our technical consultant, and they bring in some expertise. We have lots of different types of meetings and outreach. And then we pull together plans, we pull together these drafts so people can take a look and think about it, give us more feedback. So it's iterative, and we pick different sections. So we might do, so far we've been doing historic and cultural resources, open space and natural resources, and we've been focusing on housing. But now we're going to engage in land use and infrastructure and capital planning for the town in terms of long-range goals for different departments. So there's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So the parts that you've already kind of been working on, can you share some highlights or some things that you were surprised about or that you're really excited about?
Oh yeah. So well, the number one word that came back from the surveys and the outreach was we need more, I'll call it walkability in the town. You know, and as you know, we're excited to be working with the Senior Center on a grant that we have from AARP to do a walking loop. But as you build the Senior Center, which is really exciting to hear about in the previous interview, for us to be able to enhance the ability to walk around, see each other, and see friendly faces outside, and build from there. So we're excited to have that opportunity, and we want to talk about that more. The other thing that's interesting is that I think Duxbury surprised itself in realizing that it's aging in place. Everybody loves the place so much, and they've lived there forever, and they don't intend to leave.
Right.
But suddenly they're all saying, hey, we've been here a while. And when I look at the numbers, there's more of us seniors than we ever imagined.
Yes.
So planning for that, making sure that there's access to all the different things that seniors might need, and also making sure that we have room for all kinds of population to be able to have comfortable living. So there's a lot of things that come with that, and I think that's been more of a surprise than anything else that's come out of this. Everybody's so engaged, they didn't realize time was passing.
Yes, well, that does happen. No one's aging.
Heck yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We, Pam, who was on the previous episode, at one point we thought it'd be great to see people who've actually done some transitions in their home, like created a first floor bedroom, and have kind of almost a tour that you could say, you know what, I can stay in town, and these are options that make it possible. Yeah. So if we get to that point, we'll make sure that you know about it so we can get the word out to the community.
That'd be great. I think everybody'd be interested in hearing more about that. And if there's anything we can do from the town's perspective in terms of regulations or initiatives that we could take on to make that easier for people, we're all ears.
Yep, and I know one thing we're looking at doing is a tiny house little expo. We know someone who's a local builder who's building a tiny house, and so we reached out to him the other day and said, would you bring it on site so we could show it to people to see what just because, you know, I love the tiny house show on HGTV, so it'd be really fun to have that on too. So tell me some of the things you've learned besides how much Duxbury residents love living there. Anything else, like going forward, things that you want to change or where you're going to go back to the community and talk to them about?
Well, it's interesting. I think about the town green that you typically think of in a community, and I think Duxbury Bay is really Duxbury's town green in a way. And so it's a little bit different thinking about the waterfront as where the gathering place is for the community. Other than the senior center, they really are the two kind of focuses of the town. So that's interesting. And the town has a lot of really active volunteers that want to protect and preserve the character, bringing the tools back to the community to say, okay, here's some ways that might work, and here's what I'm seeing in common between different groups. They're all in the same fabric, but they're not yet in the same cloth. You know, they have the same ideas, but they're not necessarily in synergy where they could do the more with what they have in terms of time. So if I can bring resources and grant money to the table to help folks organize and focus on next steps as a team to make those initiatives more effective, that's what I'm here to do. And you know, that takes a lot of dialogue and, again, the common goals, historic preservation, character, greenery, but still having those options about flexibility for housing and having the ability to move around without necessarily changing the landscape if you're on foot or on a bike. We can do those things, and I want to be able to facilitate that.
That's really exciting. So is there a report that's written up, or how, like if someone wanted to find out where the report, where things are, how do you do that?
It's top secret government
All right,
information.
well then, say no more.
For real, you can go on the town's website. You can go to a tab right at the top of the website called Envision Duxbury, and that's a direct link to all of the information that's been generated so far, some of the previous symposiums and discussions we've had, all of the handouts, and the draft components of the plan that have been written so far. Emails on how to get a hold of me are there, as well as the staff from MAPC. And we also are going to be posting the upcoming meeting agendas. So the next time we'll see MAPC in town is going to be at our next planning board meeting on September 12th. And they're going to lay out phase 2 as we kick it off. So we have a lot of volunteer, what we were calling ambassadors in the community, that have been a huge component and have been able to go out and meet with people one-on-one and go to all the different events throughout Duxbury, and we couldn't do it without their help, going out and meeting with people and talking about what it is that the government's trying to do when they write one of these plans, and really getting people to come back and tell us what they think.
Are you needing more volunteers to be ambassadors?
We're finding more as we go, and we'd love to have people that are interested in transportation or land use and those sorts of things to just come talk to us, let us know, and we'll include you.
Do you need to have a certain sort of expertise or just passion?
Passion and willingness to talk to other people about it.
And so where would be an example of a forum that you would maybe go and speak to a group, or would you just be at the forum with a table or something like that?
Well, you could do either. If you felt like you had a book club or a group that you meet with once a month that you really thought, hey, they should know more about this, I'd like to bring their thoughts in, by all means. That's plenty right there. That's 10, 20 more people that we wouldn't have talked to. Or if you go to a regular meeting that you wanted to bring it up and ask, say, a board or something like that, get their thoughts. I'm happy to attend a meeting or provide materials and questions that could be asked to bring back to us to help us with the plan.
And so is it a standard list of questions, so you're getting specific information then?
Yeah, we're trying to give everybody the same set of questions as we move forward, so that we're getting similar feedback and on the right topics. And of course, there's always room for what we missed, fill in the blanks.
Right, I love the fill in the blanks. So now if someone wasn't going to go to a meeting but really wanted to share information, is this next list of questions online already and ready for people to start answering, or how would you know it's ready to go?
Aha. I think we'll have to put it up there. I think we've been working on it.
Okay.
And it'll probably be up in the next month or so as a follow-up to our September meeting.
Great.
So please keep an eye on our website.
Sure, and we would love to have you come to the Senior Center and share some information. And,
that'd be fantastic.
We would love that.
Thank you.
Before, we're almost out of time, but is there something you really want to let the community know about the long-range plan or things going forward? Just, this is a great venue to share information.
Yeah. Just come and talk to us. There's so many questions when you talk about land use. It feels a little bit overwhelming. Everybody has to start somewhere, and I'm happy to have coffee with people or answer questions or spend time with them one-on-one to walk through things before they come to a meeting to help them learn more about the town. Whatever I can do to help, that's my job.
Great.
And so.
Well, the town's really lucky to have you.
Well, thanks.
And so let me ask you this, just so we can share it with our viewers. If someone wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best number to reach you?
I think it's 781, and then I forget.
Oh, 934.
1100.
1100.
Extension 5476.
5476, and you're at Town Hall on the second floor. If someone, is it okay if someone pops by?
Yes, I may not be there, but we can definitely get the information from you to set up a time.
Okay,
if I'm not
wonderful.
there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing information about the long-range plan. And, you know, Duxbury is forward-thinking. People, you're right, they love the community, want to stay there, and thank you for making it a beautiful place to be.
No, thanks for having me.